Francis, It Bites on stage tonight, a good gig. How do you feel?
I thought it went really well, to be quite honest, because it's the first night of the tour for Robert Plant anyway, so I mean, they have problems before they even start, you know what I mean? So sound checks and things like that are completely out the window. So basically you go on stage blind, you haven't got any monitors or stuff like that, you get them like halfway through the set, you know.
Because you're used to headlining, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, but what we've found is in the past is that, I mean, our fans sell the places out that fast that nobody else can get to see us, you know. We need to broaden out a bit.
The other thing is now, with the music in the background, let's go back to It Bites' roots in Cumbria.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an unusual... There aren't many bands that come from Cumbria, are there?
There's been a few. My brother used to play a lot, you know. He used to play like Ozzy Osbourne and 10cc, or a band called Violinski. I don't remember them.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was the violinist out of ALO.
But did you ever play with Violinski? Was it your brother?
My brother did. There was a song called The Clock Dance. He's an instrumental, he'd done that. But he's a really good guitarist, my brother. It's just a... I mean, there's some good guitar playing on the album anyway, you know, on Violinski's album. It's just that the single was that sort of wimpy and poppyish that, you know, nobody really took much notice of them.
How long did you stay in Cumbria before moving out?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, really, because as far as It Bites go, I've known the lads since I was 5 years old, you know. I've sat with them in school, you know, all throughout my school years. And so we seen my brother on Top of the Pops and things like that, you know, and we decided that's what we wanted to do. And we've always played instruments and stuff like that, so then when we got to about 16, we started doing working men's clubs and things. So it was basically from when we were 16-year-old to, say, like 20, we played the working men's clubs, then we moved to London, because we just decided we were getting nowhere.
What was the turning point that made you sort of decide, right, we're not going to go any further if we stay in Cumbria? What made you decide to go to the Big Smoke?
Well, it was me, really. I don't mean like, it isn't like a great thing to be proud of or something, but it was me who suggested it simply because I left the band because the band didn't want to do it. I don't know whether they were a bit scared, I don't know, I mean, it was understandable. But I'm the type of person who I'll dive into anything, you know. A bit naive, really. And I moved to London and I found myself a squat, and I was just by myself for about 6 months, checking things out, you know. And I went up home one time, and the lads came round drunk and asked me to go back and join them. So I did. And then the next day they moved to London with me, moved into my squat. And then they got their own squat, and the rest is history.
You got a lot of acclaim for the first album, Big Lad and the Windmill, and Calling All the Heroes was a hit as well. I mean, are you a singles band or an album band?
I think I don't think we're any of that. I think that the press have a hard time with us because we're not one type of band, you know. And it's sometimes a disadvantage rather than being an advantage. I think I mean, we do write catchy songs, you know what I'm saying. So, well, we think they are anyway. And it's just say Calling All the Heroes done us more harm than good. It really did, you know, because at the time Virgin got stylists and things in for us, you know, and dressed us up in this like rubbish sort of clothes and stuff. We were that naive, we just done anything they said, you know. Whereas all the time we do go around like we are now. In fact, if you look at our first single, All in Red, we were dressed up like we are now, you know.
Well, just describe how you're dressed now.
Well, just like a leather jacket, you know, a pair of jeans and a pair of pumps, you know. That's what we hang around in. And on the first album, the first single was like that, and then they said, look, this is going nowhere, try this and try that. So we said, okay, we will. And then we done it, we had a hit, granted we had a hit, but it's just everybody thinks we're a pop band, you know.
That's the thing, because the trouble is, I mean, you're all pretty boys, if you don't mind me saying that. You know, you're sort of the pin-up type of things, and yet you're good musicians as well. How do you resolve that dilemma?
I find it hard to accept that, you know, I could like be in the pin-up or something. I really do find it hard, you know, because I don't think I am, but you know, I know there's some girls come to our gigs and stuff, but like they do like the music, you know. They wouldn't come back if they didn't, because say people like Nick Cayman, he was like the biggest thing in Britain at one time, but his music wasn't probably up to scratch, and he's been left now for Rick Astley, or Curiosity Killed a Cat now, that, you know, and then somebody else, Bros, have come in now, you know. So I wouldn't like to be categorising that in that sort of area.
Last year, 87 was a quiet year for It Bites. What were you doing then?
Well, we purposely took a year out because we wanted to make a fresh comeback, let everybody forget about us under that sort of image and stuff. We just went to Europe, basically. We just said, you know, we recorded the album and stuff. We didn't do any interviews, you know. We didn't do anything. Everybody was saying, you know, what's happened to It Bites, you know, One Hit Wonders and all this. I couldn't care less if we were a One Hit Wonder for the rest of our lives, you know. I mean, I have there's some good stuff in the charts, you know, there's some good bands hanging around, but it's pitiful what's happened to the British music industry. It really is. I'm ashamed to like be associated with it in a sense. No, I mean, not because, you know, I don't resent people having hits or things like that. It's just the way it's being done. You know, everything's being machined, and like, you know, everybody's saying we're old-fashioned because we like to play our instruments and stuff like that. And you're competing with people of soap operas and stuff. You know, it's like it's probably one of the only industries where if I was an artist and I'd done a painting, nobody would buy that. You know, there's people would buy the artist painting, you know, because he's good at it. So we play our instruments well, but people like Rick Astley who don't even play, or, you know, people buy that record. Anybody can be a pop star, which is sad.
But come on, Francis, if Stock Aitken Waterman rang you tomorrow and said, look, we'll produce your next single, what would you say to them?
Well, what do you think I'd say to them? What do you think I'd say to them? I don't want anything to do with them. You know, we choose our producers carefully, because the producers, we chose Alan Shacklock for the first LP because he's a musician. He has a great understanding of chords, he has a great understanding of structures and arrangements and stuff like that. Very intelligent. We chose Steve Village for our second stuff simply because of that. He's a musician, he understands chords, he's a very, very, very intelligent person, Steve Village.
I mean, Steve Hillage, has he guested with you on stage ever?
No, he hasn't. No, we don't need anything like that. We don't do things like that. But it's just a lot of people. When he was first mentioned to us, when somebody said Steve Village producer, we just said like, oh, come off it, you know, because we had this picture of him as like a hippie, or he was taking drugs and stuff like that, and it's totally untrue, man. Steve Village is a completely intelligent person. He's more on the case than anybody I know, and I mean that, I really do. He's completely and utterly together.
Francis, when I listen to you play guitar with It Bites, I think of Steve Howe of Yest. Is that true?
I don't think I'm influenced by him really. I have listened to him in the past, but not a lot. I think he's a great player, and I like some of his stuff. It's hard for me to say, you know, because I don't. If that's what you get off my playing, you know, that I can't really say anything to it, you know, because. Are you asking my opinion? Do I think I sound like Steve Howe? Oh, I don't really. I don't think I sound like Steve Howe.
Have you been influenced now working with Steve Hillage? Has he taught you a few tricks on the guitar?
No, not really. No, he can still play really well, Steve. He's more of a bluesy type player than what I am. I'm more of sort of like straight. I kept out of the blues era because I thought a lot of the heavy rock come blues players all tend to sound the same. And so I wanted to try. I mean, I don't even know. I don't think I've succeeded yet, but I will someday get my own style, you know.
The LP Once Around the World was out this week. How do you see It Bites developing now? What's the next single off this album?
Well, It Bites at the moment are probably known for like musicianship, you know, but we're probably known as. Well, I mean, we play well together, you know. I don't mean big-headedly or anything. I mean, it is fact we can play. We've known each other that long that you tend to have an understanding, you know, on stage, and. I think there's a track on the album, the title track, which is Once Around the World, which is about 16 minutes long, and it's full of time changes, and it's full of. And I think we've gone we wanted to get that out of our system, you know. And I think we won't go easier. We'll go more clever with grooves, probably. We'll probably get into grooves and sort of like it'll be a rock groove album, the next album, I think. But we're trying to find a direction, you know, because a lot of the bands. That get record deals have been writing their own stuff for a lot of years, you know, so they get time to develop before they even get a deal. Whereas we were doing cover numbers and then we moved to London, wrote our first songs and got a deal with them. So we haven't really developed, you know, but we're developing in the public's eye, which is sometimes a bad thing.
Kiss Like Judas, that was the best title for a song, certainly for about a year now. I saw you play that on Wogan. What was that like?
What was Wogan like? It's same, like all them television shows are the same, you know. I always think that a bit, you look a bit of an idiot sometimes, you know. Because like there's no, I mean, he's mimed, you know, and you tend to, you don't know what to do really, you know. There's like a lot of old people in the audience, you know, and you're trying to put across like a rock band thing. I mean, the good thing about Wogan is it's great exposure, you know. So if you can get on, which I mean, we've. You know, a lot of people like us in the BBC, including Radio 1 and stuff like that, and like 10 million people watching you play a song, you know, helps.
You know, you said there you mimed. Did you have a choice in the matter?
No, you don't. It's same as Top of the Pops or anything like that. When they say this is someone live on stage, it's rubbish, basically. They aren't live at all. There's nobody goes on Top of the Pops. I think maybe Trent D'Arby or Simply Red or someone did do a live vocal. You get the odd people doing the live vocal, but it's all mimed.
You're a band who could musically, you know, play live. Aren't you frustrated the fact that you're not allowed to?
Not really, no. I don't. One thing about it bites. We don't go along with any trends. We don't bitch about anything, you know, or any. We're not particularly bothered, you know. We just get on with our own thing, you know. And if people like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. There's nothing we can do about it, you know. I mean, say the same as like I talked about the situation how the music industry is at the moment. There's nothing I can do about that. The fact is, regardless of what I say, the fact is people don't like our records, because if they did, they would go in the charts, you know. If enough people went out and bought our records, they would go in the charts. I'm talking about our albums do well, but you know what I'm saying?
It sounds defeatist, that. What you're saying is really that... I mean, are you blaming the fact that they're not getting the chance to hear them, or the fact they don't like them?
No, I just think that if you look at the majority of single buyers, you're talking between 9 and 13-year-old girls, possibly. And I think our music is probably a bit, I wouldn't say intelligent, because that's a silly word to use. I don't know, sophisticated, I don't know. Even like, say, Kiss Like Judas, although it has got a catchy chorus and stuff, we refuse to go along with there's a sound nowadays that sells, and it's all sampled drum sounds, and everything's sampled, and it's sort of like it is a Stock Aitken and Waterman type of sound, you know. Everybody tends to use that. It's like a disco sound, and we just totally refuse to go along with that. I don't want to do that. I want to look back in a few years' time and say, oh well, you know, at least if I do get anywhere and make it really big, I can look back and say, you know, well, at least we've done it our own way, you know. We didn't. I mean, I'll tell you, the easiest thing in the world, and believe me, I really mean this, is to write a hit single. Honest to God, it is, man. All you've got to do is put something like "na na na na" or something like that. You know, say you get a hook line that's simple. Say like, "I love you, sugar, na 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 na," you know, and put a disco beat to it, and it go, "I love you, sugar, na 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 na." Do you know what I'm saying? And you just keep introducing the chorus. I mean, anybody can do that. You know, we can do that.
So are you sort of telling people who are listening to this now, go out and write a hit record, or would you advocate form a proper band and sing real music?
I wouldn't say anything. I would just say that all I'm saying is that there's a certain amount of bands in Britain that are talented, and there's a certain amount of people who aren't, and it tends to be the people who aren't. You're talking about music. See, I'm a musician, right? This is the musical world, so surely the aim is to be a musician. We're singing songs. The aim surely is to better yourself. It isn't like that anymore. The aim is to get the silliest, catchiest song out, so that you sell millions of records to little girls and be screamed over. You know, I'm probably just old-fashioned. You know, I'm sorry, but I just don't agree with anything like that. I don't mind it. You know, that's fine if they want to do that. I think the Pet Shop Boys completely summed it up for me. I mean, and I think they're probably the best at what they're doing, you know, because they aren't bad at all. They write some good songs, you know, in terms of pop. And they were two journalists who just turned around and said, you know, come on, you know, look at the state of this. We can do better than that, and they did. They did do better than that. They got up off their backsides and done a lot better than that. You know, I'm pleased for them.
Francis, thank you very much.